Hear ye, hear ye, the king is yawning. What's the word? The king is yawning. Hey, can't step on the exoskeleton. Go, you see? The king is yawning. Yeah, what's up with all the money? Well, it came by possibly. You won't try and die. Perhaps you need a boil on that nap. The king does need plenty. Right away, Your Majesty. You're lucky, sire. Now? Oh, take that. Right. You're lucky. Ready for your happy nap, sire?
Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in a couple minutes here. We'll probably start around 103, 104. We're just going to let people join. If you're in the Hangout with me, it would be great if you guys can mute yourself just in the beginning, and then I'll open it up for conversation and for questions. But it'd just be helpful in the beginning, in the top right corner, if you can mute yourself. Thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate it. So I'll be back in a couple minutes. Hi, everyone. Just one more minute here. Once we fill up in the actual live Hangout, we have to send everyone the embedded link. So we're doing that right now, and we'll let people join there, and then we'll get started. Okay, everyone, we're going to get started now. So thank you for joining today. This is the first FlashPanel live event that we're hosting. And what we wanted to do today is I was hoping to go through a little bit of our company history. We'll try to keep that short. Go into the history of FlashPanel itself and how we launched this product, how we developed it. Talk about some of the adoption numbers we've seen since we launched in the marketplace a couple months ago, and then jump into the new features that we just added. This is the area that I think most of you are probably going to be most interested in, and we'll talk about some of the sharing, some of the drive management and the end user functionality. Then we're going to talk about what's coming next. The way I like to work with customers is to be pretty transparent. So we'll tell you what's coming in the next couple releases. We'd love to get some feedback, and I'll open it up to Q&A at the end. So this will probably take between 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm not exactly sure. Again, this is the first time we're trying this format, but figured this would be a good interactive way to tell you what's going on with the product. So if you can, it would be great maybe just to mute yourself if you're in the Hangout. Just there's some background noise, so if you can mute yourself, that would be great. So just a little bit on the company. Our team is made up of, at this point, we're 15 people. We're all Google Apps experts. We've either been in the space with Better Cloud or actually with previous companies. So we have a really good understanding of both the ecosystem as a whole, Google Apps resellers. We have a good understanding of the whole ecosystem. And our goal with Better Cloud was to make operating on the Google Apps platform more seamless and efficient. And so we're huge believers in Google Apps. We're very passionate about the platform. And our view is that we want to help companies, administrators, end users make more of the Google Apps platform. There's so much in the suite. And in order to unlock some of that, I think you need some additional functionality. The goal for us is really to be the ultimate companion tool for all Google Apps domains. Every Google Apps administrator, end user, we think that there's value. Whether you're a small company of 2 people or you're a very large company, our largest domain is 100,000 seats. So whether you're an EDU or you're a for-profit business, if you're a law firm, a bank, it doesn't matter. Our belief is that our products, specifically FlashPanel, are really relevant to any Google Apps domain and Google Apps administrator. Our product is built on Google App Engine, and so it's everything is very much focused, like I said, on Google, not just on the Google App Suite, but actually we're using their back-end infrastructure as well. So we're running on Google App Engine. I'm going to go into a couple of slides, and I'm going to try to keep the slides to a minimum here. So let me just pull up my. So this is our FlashPanel, the history of FlashPanel. We started Better Cloud in November of last year. And when we did, our first decision was we knew that we needed to build a really strong Google Apps management tool. Come April, we had the first version, the alpha of FlashPanel available. And at that point, we had another product as well at the time called Domain Watch. And at that point, we had some conversations with customers, and we realized we really need to merge all of our functionality together. Companies that we were talking to, what we heard is they didn't want to see they didn't want to have 5-point solutions, one for drive management, one for user management, one for email signatures. Everyone said we would love a consolidated product that we can train our team on and feel comfortable with and invest into, and that becomes our management tool. And so that's what we found out in that alpha process. We had about 50 companies on the alpha, and everyone kept saying the same thing. I don't want 5, 6, 10 applications to manage Google Apps. I want one. And so that we evolved, and we continue to merge the functionality. And what you're seeing today is really the result of that. We put out a private beta to about 500 companies in May. And at that point, we started to really do some wireframe reviews and get more in-depth feedback from our customers. And then we launched the public beta in July. It's been very busy since then. We've added a lot of functionality. And in September, we launched version 1.6, which has the asset visibility as well as the end user functionality. So, since launch, since we launched this product, we've had some really good adoption. You can see, we launched this in the marketplace right around here, mid-July. We're up to about 9,000 companies that are using the product, approximately 2.7 million users on those 9,000 companies. So the adoption has been really good. And what's very important about this is the fact that this is the full spectrum of Google customers. I'm going to reiterate that, because whether you're here listening today and you're a 5-person company that thinks that it would be great to have standardized email signatures, or whether you're a 50,000 person enterprise who needs a better way to deprovision users, we have that functionality and the product scales. And so that's very important. The version that we put out recently is version 1.6, which, like I mentioned, that has our asset visibility and control. When I say assets, I really mean Drive, your documents that are in Drive. And this functionality, when we rolled it out in the middle of September, we actually had the response. The response was we didn't expect that many people to jump on the feature right away. It looked like we were going to have to scan about 100 million documents in the first 12 hours. So we actually rolled the functionality back, and we are now starting to re-enable it for domains. So if you're on this call today and you're interested in checking out the Drive visibility and Drive management, you can email assets, ASSETS, assets @bettercloud.com. Just go ahead and email us with your primary domain, and we'll re-enable that for you as soon as we finish this hangout. So I'll jump into the demo of that so you can see what that actually looks like. But we believe this was a really big feature for us. This is probably the most important feature we've added into the product since inception. And the reason is that most companies, again, feedback that we're hearing from companies is that most companies really feel that they want to use Drive. They really it's something that they want to use inside their organization, but in order to do that, they need to have visibility in terms of what's going on. So they want to know who's sharing documents with who owns these documents. Let's say you're rolling out Drive and you've done a training about how to use Google Docs, but everyone is still uploading Microsoft documents. That kind of information is very hard to come by within the Google Control Panel. And so when we added this functionality, we've gotten really good feedback from some of the customers that we've re-enabled it for, who've said that they had no idea that they had 1,000 documents shared publicly. One customer had a application they installed from the marketplace. It was actually a quoting application, and all their salespeople, every time they sent a quote, their quote was becoming public, and that was the way that the application was sharing the quote. And the administrator had no idea. And so I think the visibility into Drive is extremely, extremely important, and has already been extremely popular, but I think will continue to be. The other area is end user functionality. So those 2.7 million users that we're reaching, having those users actually have visibility into the directory, into shared contacts, into the employee directory. We have some how-to videos with our Google Guru site. All of that is embedded there in the end user view. So I'm actually going to jump over to that very quickly here. And let me just show you the, sorry, this Hangouts. Just going to log into to FlashPanel here. So here is FlashPanel. We'll see. It should take a second to load. So what you're going to see here is if you've got the asset functionality enabled on your domain, what you're going to see is you're going to see this area here called Assets on your homepage dashboard. And what you can see is the number of documents that you have shared publicly, which is right here. You can also see the trend line for those documents. So this is actually our live domain, our bettercloud.com domain. And so what you can see here is something happened recently that increased the number of documents that were being shared publicly. And I'm probably going to want to take a look at that and figure out who's sharing publicly and why they're doing that. I have the same kind of trend lines for external, and I have the same for internal. I have my total number of documents here, which I think if you have never installed a product like this, you probably haven't done too much browsing around in the control panel to find this information. It's slightly difficult. So this is valuable information. You can see the types of documents. So you can see here I've got spreadsheets, I've got text documents. So you have a lot of information about the assets. You can do an even further drill down if you click into the Assets tab. And what you can see on the Assets tab is, again, the total number of documents. But something that's very interesting is right here. You can actually search a specific domain and see documents that are shared with that one domain. So some people like to use this, for example, to see if their employees are sharing with gmail.com. So I can actually do a search for all documents that are shared with the domain gmail.com. So for many organizations, you don't want your employees sharing documents with their personal Gmail accounts. This allows you to filter and view documents that are shared with a specific domain. You can also see here the exposure a little bit more granular than you could on the home page. So for example, I can click in here and look at all of my public documents. And so, I'm just having an issue with this Hangout here. So you can see all the documents that are being shared publicly, and you can actually filter those documents by a variety of different pieces of information. So let me just get back into Assets. So I can click here, and I can look at all documents that are owned by a specific user. So for example, I can see here our public documents owned by our marketing director, Taylor, is this Better Cloud's Keys to Managing Your Google Apps domain. I can click into this document, and I can actually see a lot more information about this document. So I can see the owner here on the left side. I can see who has access to edit this document. I have the last updated and last viewed information. I can actually drill into the live sharing settings and make changes from right here. So again, if you have a specific user that you're worried about and you want to take a look at, you can look at their documents specifically. You can look at their documents that they're sharing with their Gmail account. You can look at all publicly shared documents. You can look at, there's a variety of different ways to cut and dice this information, and based on your organization, you're going to have what's important to you. Like I said, this is probably the most important feature we have added into our tool since we launched. If you want access to this and you don't yet have access, please email assets@bettercloud.com, and like I said, we'll get that turned on for you before the end of the day. What you can also see is that we've created an end user view. So the end user view, if your end users will actually see FlashPanel in their More dropdown, and when they do and they log in, they're going to have this view that you're seeing right here. So what you see is on the right-hand side, you see my profile. I can edit my profile picture, and the rest of my vital information. We have Google Guru, which I mentioned, which is a how-to video tutorial site that has helped tips, tricks. When Google comes out with a new feature, we create a video usually within a couple of hours. And so this really helps. We found that this helps end users just stay on top of what they can do inside of Google. And then you see the directory on the left-hand side where I can actually browse through my directory, all my team members. I can click into a particular user. I can see their information. I can see their manager. I can see which groups they're a part of. So there's some real big value for end users where this information is hidden a couple of clicks deep in Google. Company contacts, shared contacts, which is one of the features that we find many of our organizations come and install FlashPanel for. Shared contacts and being able to actually view those shared contacts is pretty powerful. So being able to search by name or by company, we have tagging, so you can actually drill into a particular user and you can see their information. So as a these are the features that we released just recently. Like I said, one of the things I wanted to go through today is I want to give you guys a sneak peek of what's coming. This is coming in the next month or so. But when you think about the drive functionality that I was showing you, I'm going to have to click back here. Give me 1 second. When you think about the drive functionality that I was showing you in the docs visibility, the obvious next step in that is right now that's retroactive. I'm going to go in after the fact. I'm going to look at the number of documents shared publicly. I'm going to see if people are breaking any of the company policies. I can do all of that after the fact. So the obvious next step is to actually be able to proactively control and alert and stop that sharing from happening. So what I'm going to show you is really a sneak peek. This is in our wireframing software, so just bear with me here. We don't have it in the application yet, but what you can see here is this is our sharing policy functionality, which we're going to be adding to the FlashPanel in the next couple of weeks. So what you can see is if you're familiar with FlashPanel, you'll see that we have the standard 3-step wizard here that you would be using with all of your email tools and all of your settings in general. What you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to create a sharing policy for a specific user, group, or OU. So for example, I can say that my group, which is called interns, is not allowed to share publicly with a link, externally, so on and so forth. What we've added is the ability to create exceptions. So for example, you can say, my interns cannot share externally except for with our sister company, and you can type in that name here, and they'll be allowed to share with them. Once you've set the policy, you're going to have some different options for what to do with the documents that break that policy. So you'll be able to actually auto-correct the sharing settings, which means if I share it externally with a domain I wasn't supposed to, actually remove that sharing altogether, remove all collaborators, mark read-only, change the owner to an administrator or to the person's manager. And there's a notifications tab here, which we don't have mocked up, but what you'll be able to do is send a notification to the end user to say, you've broken our company policy by sharing a document publicly. Please don't do that again, and please remove that sharing permission, or to their manager, or to yourself. So there's a lot here, and I'm showing this to you today because most of the organizations that have been using the Drive functionality have asked about this functionality. So this is coming next. This is the next major release. Will include this. The other functionality which you're going to be seeing in the next release is you're going to be seeing a provisioning workflow. That's something, again, that the deprovisioning workflow is probably our second most popular the second most popular tool that we have. And what we've heard from organizations is, I'd love this for when I onboard a user. I'd love to create which groups they're in. I'd love to create what document folders they get. I'd love to create which email signature they have, but all during the provisioning process, so that in one step, you can actually take care of everything you need to do to onboard a new user. So that's a piece of functionality that's been requested from many of the companies that are using deprovisioning workflow. The other feature that's coming that I think many of you are going to be happy about is bulk edit of users. So if you want to make a wholesale change on your domain and change the address for a team of users that had to move to a different office, or if you want to change the main company number for a team of users, you can do that now. You'll be able to do that in bulk through a Google spreadsheet, which by doing it in a Google spreadsheet, we believe that gives the administrators even more flexibility and power in what they're doing. So that's what's coming next. That's all coming. It'll come in the next month and a half. All of that functionality will be rolled out. And the goal there is that really before the end of the year, we feel like we're giving like I said earlier, a more holistic administration tool to Google Apps admins. This should really cover 98% of what you're doing on a regular basis in Google Apps. Our heaviest users really open up FlashPanel in the beginning of the day. They leave it open in a tab, and they use it throughout the day. And that really has become their way of managing their users, their groups, their OUs, everything related to Google Apps. So the next question, which has been coming up, and I'd like to address on here is the pricing question. So a number of you have installed the product and asked, how much is this going to cost? I know that it's free now, but how much is it going to cost? When is it going to cost? How long do I have to decide whether or not I want to purchase this product? So the product is going to remain free until the end of the year. That is, we had originally planned to do it to start charging sometime in September, but we've decided to extend it till the end of the year. So you can get a chance to really test the product out, make sure you really like it, and make sure that it's worth paying for as we go into next year. In January, when we release paid plans, there's always going to be a free product. So there's always going to be a free version that you're going to be able to use that has much of what you're using today. We're still determining the packages. So today I can tell you that the product will remain free till the end of the year. And we're still deciding on the packages that we're going to have once we come out of beta next year and once we start charging. On our next FlashPanel live session, we'll probably have those packages ready to present for you and ready to discuss actual pricing so that you can prepare before the end of the year. You can prepare your budgets for FlashPanel. I don't think it's going to be a huge amount, so I don't think you have to worry too much about your budgets, but at least you'll have it planned out and you'll be able to talk to your team about what's coming. So that's really what I wanted to cover today from my side. I'd love to, if you want, anyone who's in the Hangout, please feel free to ask questions. You can ask them via chat. You can ask them verbally. Either way works fine. But if you have any questions, One question that I got here is, can you set a policy to set all documents to an admin? That's a feature that when we create the sharing policies, you'll be able to create a policy that will go through, and it'll be a little bit of a workaround, but you'll be able to create a policy that takes all documents and adds an administrator's account to those documents. Right now, actually, let me pull up the application very quickly here, because I think we may be able to do that today with what the features we added. So let me pull up the assets functionality here. So if I click into all my documents, let me click into explore all my documents. Yes, actually what you can do right now is, if you have the assets functionality enabled, what you can do is you can click in from the assets page to the all documents, and then when you're here, you can actually click here. So you can click here, you can click select all, which is going to select all 14,557 documents, 55 documents. You can say edit permission, and you can add collaborator. So when you do this, you'll be able to enter in a administrator email address, and so you'll be able to add that administrator to all the documents. So we want to get more granular with this and how add the administrator and in which way, and we're going to do that, but you can today do that. So you can select all, you can click the edit permissions, and you can add a collaborator to all the documents. Okay, so that was one question. Any other questions? So I think, from our perspective, so a couple of questions here. So one is about, will the version in the apps marketplace differ from the version that will be available to apps resellers? So we're going to be we're starting to reach out to resellers. Resellers have started to reach out to us. We have a group of resellers we're already working with today, a group of preferred partners that we launched with. But we will be working with resellers to give them a version that is, let's say, a premium on top of the free version that is available in the marketplace. So we will be working with resellers around the world to provide a little bit of a higher end version than what's available in the marketplace. Again, like everything else, we're still determining exactly what will be in that package and pricing and how it's going to work. So, the part of the reason also for keeping this product free until the end of the year is to make sure we're setting the right expectations, and that we have the right packages picked out based on users' feedback and what makes sense to them. But I can tell you now that, again, regarding pricing, I can tell you that we will make this very affordable. And our goal, like I said early on in this presentation, is my personal goal really when we started this company. I'd like to be able to help administrators and end users make more of Google Apps. I couldn't be a bigger believer in what Google is doing, and I have seen how it can change a business, and I've seen how it can change businesses plural, and I want to help organizations make the most and feel comfortable rolling out Drive and use all the functionality that's in front of them. So when you see our site, the Google Guru site or Ask the Guru, it's the reason we created that site was to help people understand all the functionality that's out there. So that's the goal. So again, we're going to work on making sure that the price is affordable, so that we can have as many people as possible using the product. Any other questions about pricing, about the Drive functionality? I haven't had a chance to look at my email, so I'm not sure. Probably a bunch of you sent us emails to turn on the asset and re-enable the asset visibility, so we'll do that. And the other thing I would say just is, if you guys have feedback, if you have questions, if you think that there's something that we can do better, if you think we're doing something really well, email me, please. You can email me at dave@bettercloud.com. dave@bettercloud.com. And so I just we appreciate feedback. And so if you have any questions, ideas, thoughts, please email me. This is how we built this product with help from customers like you, and we're going to continue to enhance the product and hopefully add functionality that is that's relevant to you. So please email me with feedback, ideas. I'd love to get your thoughts on this format for a hangout and for presenting this information. I think we'd like to do another one of these in about a month. So if you have ideas or thoughts on the format, I'd love that as well. Thank you very, very much today for joining. Doesn't look like we have any more questions. I really appreciate all the support and feedback, and thank you guys very much.